Okay, Chelsea have sacked Frank Lampard after only a year and a half in charge of the club. His first season, obviously, there was the transfer embargo, and to be fair, he managed to get an FA Cup final and drag him into Europe without being able to sign any new players. So his first season was a bit of a baptism of fire. It was only his second full season in management, but this season, with the amount of money spent in the transfer window and with key signings really struggling to find form, it's and to be honest, goal scoring's been a problem. Now Tammy Abraham did score a hat-trick against Luton in the FA Cup yesterday. I think the decision was made to sack Lampard before the game kicked off. In all honesty, I think that decision had been made by the board, and Abramovich is not one of those owners to hang around for very long. Even managers who've been successful at Chelsea have lost their jobs. Ask Antonio Conte. From where they were when Conte took over to win the Premier League the following season, and then the season after win the FA Cup, even with silverware being brought to the club, he didn't see out his 3-year contract. Lampard, I think, was it the wrong timing for him to be the manager? Possibly. But then you have to look at transfer policy. But then you have to look at a long-term trend at Chelsea. The amount of managers they've had, including Mourinho twice, the lack of managerial stability, and the constant changing on the bench is a problem. There's only so long you can do that and remain successful, and I think the success is dried up. I cannot see Chelsea winning a trophy this season. Even though they've got through to the 5th round of the FA Cup, it's going to be a tall order with yet another voice behind the bench, and this playing group having to listen to a different voice in the dressing room. Now, Tuchel, the former PSG manager, is favourite to take over, but Rafa Benitez is also in the running as well because he's left his Chinese Super League side only a few days before this announcement was made. So there's a couple of big-name managers available. But even so, you look at the managers Chelsea have had and how little leeway they get with Abramovich. He's not a patient owner, and that is part of the problem. Part of the problem is Abramovich chopping and changing the manager. And Lampard has hit the average for a managerial term at Chelsea. A season and a half is generally the average if you look at the amount of managers they've had and how quickly they go through them. There's a reason why other clubs have had sustained success. Now, Chelsea are regularly competing for trophies, but I think the style of ownership is starting to have an effect on the field. Now, there were question marks about Lampard being appointed with such little experience as a coach before. He only had one season at Derby before he was Chelsea manager. There were some saying give him more time at Derby, let him learn his craft. And that is something I think he can take away from this, is maybe this was a job too soon. Maybe his inexperience caught up with him. But you have to look at the transfer policy and how much say the manager actually has in the transfer policy at Chelsea, with them, letting go of De Bruyne and Salah in recent years, who've gone on to do great things at other clubs. Goal scoring has been an issue this season, and defending has not been great. Kepa in goal, he's not fulfilled the potential of that signing and the amount of money they spent on him. Timo Werner hasn't really got any confidence at the moment. Now, whether that's a poor relationship with the manager and himself, the tactics, the style of play they play, because is Timo Werner a bad player? No, he's not a bad player. He's proven he's a very, very capable young talent who needs to continue to grow and develop. Whether Lampard was the right manager or the system was the right system for him to continue his development that he'd shown in Germany is another question. Where did Chelsea go from here? They need managerial stability. That is something that needs to happen, because they can get a big name in like Tuchel or Benitez, but if they're not allowed to see out their full term of contract, then it's another wasted opportunity. We'll have to see what happens, but their form has been struggling. Did Lampard lose the room? But you have to look at their transfer policy and how the squad is put together and how that squad is structured. There are a lot of young players there, but then you look at the players they've got out on loan who are doing reasonably well on loan and getting good minutes, good performances, putting in the bank. And then you look at Chelsea with where they are and their stuttering and their collapse of form. It's not good. And if we're going from Christmas, they would be in the bottom 5. If the season started at Christmas, they will be in the bottom 5 right now. So there is a concern there, but we'll have to see what happens. And Tuchel or Benitez, they're the two favourites to take the role. Tuchel is the odds-on favourite. Rafa Benitez is a dark horse to possibly get a recall to Stamford Bridge. He knows how the club works. He has won silverware with the club. So we'll see what happens. And we'll see how long it takes before an announcement is made. But thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts below in the comments section, and I'll have some more videos for you very, very soon.